The day's other headlines start with President Trump's temporary federal takeover of policing in Washington, D.C. The first of some 800 activated National Guard soldiers were seen on the streets of the nation's capital today. Separately, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said today that a surge of some 850 federal law enforcement officers started yesterday. The city's Democratic mayor, Muriel Bowser, insists that Police Chief Pam Smith remains in charge. Bowser also spoke about making the most of the heightened security presence.
What I'm focused on is the federal surge and how to make the most of the additional officer support that we have. How we got here, or what we think about the circumstances. Right now, we have more police, and we want to make sure we're using them.
Also today, the White House said it would increase its crackdown on homeless encampments, offering those affected the option of moving into a shelter or a drug treatment facility. Those who refuse face fines or even jail time. In Texas, GOP leaders say they'll call a second special session of the state's legislature if Democrats don't return to work by a Friday deadline. Governor Greg Abbott also threatened to keep at it until the Republican agenda is passed, saying, quote, "There will be no reprieve for the derelict Democrats who fled the state and abandoned their duty."
There being 95 members present, a quorum is not present.
The announcement came shortly after the Texas House once again failed to meet a quorum this morning. A group of Texas Democrats left the state earlier this month to block voting on a redrawn congressional map that could help Republicans claim 5 additional seats in Congress. Democrats say it amounts to cheating. Police in Texas say the man who shot 3 people in a Target parking lot opened fire randomly. The attack took place in Austin yesterday afternoon with back-to-school shopping underway. The victims include a Target employee who was collecting carts, a 4-year-old, and her grandfather. Police say the shooter had been previously arrested for domestic violence and assault. Today, officials said he had a history of mental illness, but said they were unaware of a specific diagnosis.
For someone to have the capacity to take the life of 3 innocent people and a 4-year-old child. As we move forward and are looking more into this, it will be interesting to kind of peel that back and see where those failures took place.
Following the shooting, the 32-year-old suspect reportedly stole 2 cars before being subdued with a taser and arrested. He's currently being held on capital murder charges. In the Middle East, Israeli planes and tanks struck eastern Gaza City overnight and today, killing at least 11 people. Bystanders rushed victims away from the scene of one strike where witnesses say a man selling water was killed. Israel says it tries to avoid civilian casualties and blames Hamas for operating in densely populated areas. Meantime, Gaza's health ministry says 5 more Palestinians died of malnutrition in the past day. That comes as foreign ministers from 24 countries issued a statement today saying the suffering in Gaza has reached what they called unimaginable levels. They're calling on Israel to allow unrestricted aid into the territory. In Europe, wildfires are burning in areas from one end of the continent to the other. Overnight in Spain, firefighters battled a blaze that surrounded the capital, Madrid. Emergency services said 1 person was killed. Meantime, to the east in Turkey, evacuees were whisked away from the encroaching flames by boat. In Montenegro, residents there returned to their homes today only to find everything destroyed.
Everything that can be paid for and bought can be compensated. But the memories that burned in these 4 rooms cannot be. The most important thing is that there were no human casualties. But what happened yesterday was truly like something out of a horror film.
Authorities say the flames are being fueled by an extreme heat wave that's simmering the entire continent. Temperatures in some areas topped 104 degrees. Climate change experts say Europe is warming faster than any other continent. Tennis Hall of Famer Monica Seles is speaking publicly for the first time about her neuromuscular autoimmune disease. The 9-time Grand Slam winner says she was diagnosed with myasthenia gravis, or MG, back in 2022, which causes muscles to weaken and tire quickly. The 51-year-old said she learned she had the condition after experiencing double vision and weakness in her arms and legs. Seles made the announcement shortly before the start of the U.S. Open with the aim of bringing attention to the disease.
When I got diagnosed, I was like, what? So this is where can't emphasize enough. I wish I had, somebody like me speak out about it and just raise awareness.
Celis won her first major title back in 1990 at the age of 16. At one point in her career, she spent 91 weeks in a row as the world's #1 player. On Wall Street today, stocks rallied after the latest inflation data fueled new hopes for interest rate cuts. The Dow Jones Industrial Average jumped nearly 500 points. The Nasdaq added nearly 300 points. The S&P 500 also ended sharply higher. And pioneering jazz vocalist Sheila Jordan has died. From a whisper to a warble to a wail, Jordan used her voice to startling effect, helping forge a legacy as one of the genre's most daring improvisers. Despite her talents, Jordan's career never entirely took off. As a single mother, she worked as a secretary in New York to help pay the bills, and she also battled addiction. In 2012, she was named a jazz master by the National Endowment for the Arts, often described as the nation's highest honor for jazz. And Jordan never stopped working, releasing her final record, Portrait Now, just this year. Sheila Jordan was 96 years old. Still to come on the NewsHour, the recent shooting at the CDC highlights the increasing threats health workers are facing and an unusual effort to boost artists of color.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein studio at WETA in Washington and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.